So what can I tell you about A-level politics? Well, if you've clicked on this link, it might be because you are already interested in current affairs. You might watch the news or read a newspaper or be really interested in a YouTube video. You might be angry at a political issue or a particular politician right at this moment.
What I like most about the Politics A-level is the debates in class, because this is a politics course, so we'll be doing plenty of debating, and the best part about the debates themselves is that they allow you to rationalise what your positions are, the counters to those positions, and whether or not you want to change your mind.
In A-level politics, we look at how things work. We assess whether they work well, and then we look at solutions to improve. For example, let's take democracy. A lot of people think that too few people vote. Well, if too few people vote, what can we do to ensure they participate? Should we have compulsory voting? Should we lower the voting age so 16 and 17-year-olds can vote? We look at those issues and more. We look at why people vote the way they do. We examine what the Labour Party stands for, what the Conservative Party stands for. And in the first year, it's all UK politics. In the second year, we go on to American politics. And that is in the news right now because of the US presidential election. So we look at what the US president can do in foreign affairs, in domestic affairs. Why are judges so powerful in the United States? And we eventually compare the US system with the UK system.
My favourite parts of the Politics A-level would probably be the modules on ideology. So you'll do several ideologies, including liberalism, conservatism, socialism and feminism. Now these ideologies are the most fun of the course, largely because they're less intensive than American and UK politics, and you get to sort of relax and really understand where the ideologies come from, how they affect the politics of countries. So for instance, when it comes to America, how American conservatism would be different to English conservatism, and it really rounds out the course in terms of your understanding in general of politics. One thing that I wish I knew before starting the course, that I certainly know now, is you must be able to keep up to date with current affairs as they come. So for instance, rather than trying to keep up to date with current affairs weekly, do it as they come. Keep a news diary. In fact, you will be issued one, but perhaps use a separate piece of lined paper just to jot down some brief notes and then put them in a news diary. Because what these news stories can do, they can bolster your arguments. So for instance, if you had a question on how socialist or how much socialist influence is there in the Labour Party, you might want to reference their new manifesto. So if you're doing the course during an election, which is fantastic, you might want to keep up to date with what the parties are doing to allow you to answer essays much more efficiently.
The amount of work you have to do outside of lessons depends on how much you do inside of lessons. The more you do in lesson, the less you do out. Every week you'll get set a certain amount for the next lesson, but as long as you're organised, it shouldn't really matter.
So regarding how much work you have to do outside of lessons, to quote the Battle of Britain, plenty of it. So this is about the same as most A-level courses. The big difference between your GCSE courses and A-level is a lot more independent study, largely because you're doing fewer subjects overall. So for politics, there's plenty of outside of college work to be done. So for instance, keeping up to date with current affairs and a bit of extra reading. So you might want to read certain books such as the Communist Manifesto or perhaps Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations to give you an edge when it comes to ideology.
The things I've liked studying most so far is electoral systems and how it affects voting behaviour in the country. But we've recently started studying feminism, and that's one of my favourite topics already.
To be successful with the politics course, you really ought to be skilled in being a decent orator, and you really need to have a decent interest in politics. There's no real point in doing a politics course if you're not really into the political landscape. So ideally, try and practice how to get your point across in debates and just get involved, get stuck in and learn a bit more about politics just by watching the news. My top tip for you studying politics would be, don't take it too seriously and have fun with it. The thing is, the very nature of a politics course means you're going to be dealing with opinions and arguments and plenty of heated debate. This can be very exhausting, so do not take it too seriously and have as much fun with it as possible. Perhaps crack a few jokes during your debate. It livens up the mood.
If you think that having debates about hot political issues is something you would be interested in. If you are interested in watching the news and finding out more, then maybe politics is for you. You don't need to have an in-depth knowledge of the UK or US political system. You just have to come ready to learn about them and be interested. So I really hope that you seriously consider politics at Reigate College.